with Vidi now. So Vidi, tell us, if we were to decide how to prioritize and assign a person to a particular team, what would be, let's say, your way of determining where the most impact can be made?
First, I would consider the background of that particular individual.
Yeah.
Right. I will consider the background of a particular individual, like what are their fortes and what are their competencies, because I think that it's most effective to put a person according to their like background. But although we can assign them to something new, and based on their ability to learn something new, we can assign them to explore the new things, basically. But most importantly, I think I would consider the background first. Sorry, I think it's muted, sir.
Oh, got
Right.
it. Correct. I need some coordination here. So when I start, open up the mic. I'll need you to close the microphone on that side. Yeah.
Oh, this one.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Okay. So one mic, one speaker at a time. If we switch over here, then we'll have to turn off the mic and speaker on that side. Okay. So thank you, Vidi. So just to reinforce what you said, think about the person's strengths and have them focus on the strengths and understand what they're good at. Let's say this question then. Let's refine that question. So what if, for example, the task would be the same on every squad? Then how do we decide which particular team should actually get? Let's say the strength is equally distributed, right? So each team is going to get the same strength. Then which team should actually get the person? Let's go over to Vidi. He's new in this conversation, so let's see what he says. I'm going to mic off and go ahead and turn on the mic and the speaker on that side.
Right. So
Okay.
if all the tasks are the same, basically, I would love to measure the workload of each individuals in this particular spot, because I think that if someone overworks, the efficiency and the results might decrease over time.
Okay.
If we see that, for example, in squad 1, although it's bigger, but then it has a lot of results already. It means that the work is the total work divided by the number of individuals. Let's say the competencies, right? But then there is this small team which only has a few individuals, but then maybe for them the workload is too much. So we would like to reduce the workload of each individual, because overworking affects the efficiency and the workflow of the particular team.
Okay, sounds good.
During the workloads.
All right, and I imagine this person would agree with you. All right, Wayana, what do you have to say about that?
I think you right on the spot. Like I feel that's the well said. Like yeah. So I just want to add on that, like not just the workload, also like some people take a workload like outside what an expert.
Okay, right. So that reinforces what Vidi was saying too, as well, about put the right person behind the right task so that there'll be fluency. Okay, so here's a condition. Lilith, let's go to Lilith. Lilith, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, actually, the way how we can divide or delegate something is the same. What Phoebe says and what says that first identify the competencies, and then actually prioritizing is also one of the most important thing. I mean, like if these people has the most fit competencies, and for example in revenue management, maybe the most prioritize thing that is capable that is related to the potencies is should be good if it is delegated to the person.
Okay, all right. The prioritization, matching of competencies, and also respect of understanding each person's workload. Fantastic. This is really good material. So let's take this into account because these are the three factors we need to worry about, right? So factors. So this is continuing off of what we did yesterday. So prioritization, prioritization. Let's say competency, and workload distribution. Right? Those seem to be the most important factors that we can take into account. Okay, so knowing that, let's take into account one more particular picture, which is I'd like just to take a look at this. This is a statistic. Where the biggest opportunities are. So this is in relation to the size of let's say, where is the most impact going to happen for the company growth, and what would that impact look like? So let's take a look. Currently, the highest performance squad at the moment is Squad 2, and it's exceeded Squad 1 performance back about September 2019. Most of that, if I recall correctly, has been the addition of new properties and very little churn on old properties. So most of the community is intact, and there's a new addition of new properties in. And this consumes quite a lot of revenue management bandwidth for two reasons. One is creating projections for the new properties, and second, it's servicing through the revenue control a large intact community of properties too as well. Okay, so there's new properties being added, and I believe that a lot of the newest properties are also in the Squad 2 pipeline, and currently we're, let's say, at $101,000, right? Let's take a look at where Squad 4 is. Squad 4 currently is at $14,000. Last month it did 23. Squad 4 also encompasses the Jogja properties that are over on this side. Currently, I think Andre is actually managing the revenue management on these particular properties. But let's take a look at this. Let's look at where impact might happen. Let's take a look at where our last month's results are. In January, Squad 2 got 163,000 of overall revenue. Squad 1 had 146. Squad 4 was 23. Squad 3 was 11,000. Okay, so let's just try to imagine this. Let's try to imagine what sort of percentage impact that the revenue manager can make on the overall picture. So if we were to guess what number would you put down? Let's go with Vidi first. Vidi, what is the percentage impact that you think a good revenue manager can put down for improving the revenue on a particular squad's performance?
Well, I think like individually.
Yeah. Like let's say if we put a good revenue manager on the squad versus no revenue manager on the squad, what sort of is the gap in revenue you think that can happen in terms of a percentage?
It's a wild guess, but I think over 10%.
Great, over 10%. Wyatt, would you agree with what Vinny said, over 10% improvement?
I think depend on the seasonality and the quality of the property. It's between 10 to 30%.
10 to 30%. Okay, all right. Lilith, what would you guess is the impact of a good revenue manager on overall performance?
I agree. It's dependent on the property and also seasonality, but also the frequency of the monitoring is also
Frequency of monitoring.
Yes.
the performance of the revenue manager itself.
Very good. Okay. So what is the overall percentage impact you think a good revenue manager should have on the revenue?
Should be at minimum 15%.
Okay, 15%. Great. All right. It doesn't matter what the number is. It just matters it's some number. And that number applied to a bigger number is obviously more impact, right? So let's say, for example, and this is the reason why we talked about Squad 2. Let's say we could improve Squad 2 by just 15%. Then we would talk about 184,000 of impact, right? On Squad 1, that would be 167. So Squad 1 could theoretically do this even better than the Squad 2 with a really good revenue manager. But let's take a look over here. So Squad 3 with a really great impact is 26. So That is far less than the previous two, right?
But I think
It's just that's just my point, right? So all of the points considered, I just want to mention that we should seek where the greatest impact zone, greatest opportunity to as well. Because remember, our mission is to actually grow the company. And so growing the company, we've determined is a matter of overall revenue growth. And so if we want to apply focus and grow the company, it should be on where the most revenue growth can happen. Right? It's kind of like if you're a farmer and you sell coffee beans and you sell maybe potatoes, but you make 90% of your money on coffee beans and 10% on potatoes. Then when you get, let's say, fertilizer, you should probably sprinkle the fertilizer
this one
on the
is
coffee
same
beans.
potato with potato.
Not at all. Why-
Yes, because
okay,
it's property with property, no?
but it's particular region and its particular fertility and the seasonality, as you know. There is something to be said about the seasonality in Chengdu versus the seasonality in Sweden.
And Bukit.
In the Bukit, in every area.
Canggu, yeah, yes.
Right. So if we want to focus, let's say, efforts on growing revenue, let's focus on the areas where we see the highest impact to growth. Okay. That being said, I still agree. We need to prioritize based on competency. We still need to prioritize based on workload distribution. And I'm just saying that also the greatest opportunity is something that we should not forget and under prioritize by over prioritizing the first two factors. Does that make sense? Okay, great. So can we move ahead with this? This is essentially a sound plan. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I have everyone's mind. All right. I motion that this is a sound way to create prioritization. Oh, we don't have prioritization until we order this actually. So we need to order in which order is this the most important. I'll just create an order as a motion. I would motion that this is probably even no. I would probably even say this is the best prioritization. Okay, this is my motion, and it's open for discussion. Does anybody want to second the motion? Okay, there's,
Because opportunity, competency.
and then workload distribution is the third most important factor. So first factor in prioritization should be where's the greatest opportunity. Second is the best area of competency. Third area is the workload distribution. Okay, so we have a second. Does anyone want a second? Vinny. Okay, Vinny, go ahead.
No, I just want to add, like, the way you mentioned about greatest opportunity before, you consider the squad with the biggest revenue, basically.
No, sir. No, sir. I wouldn't consider the squad with the biggest revenue, the biggest opportunity. I would consider the squad with the most amount of total new revenue potential to be the biggest opportunity. So let's say, for example, back a few months ago in September, Squad 1 was the squad with the biggest revenue. But Squad 2 was the one I would say that was accumulating more potential because they were bringing in new properties. So if you try to imagine it as, let's say, a container, the revenue management sort of way of thinking of it is how do I fill this container with the most amount of stuff? So the biggest opportunity is the container that's getting the biggest, fastest. And that would be where I would say that's the biggest opportunity. Not the biggest container today, but the container that's getting the biggest in the fastest way. So if Squad 2, let's say, had a revenue container, and what do I mean by revenue container? Here's the best way to describe it. Now, currently, we can see what the entire container looks like in terms of room nights available. As you can see, as we accumulate more new properties, Biddy, Lilith, our total amount of room counts per month goes up, right? So our containers are getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So revenue management's job is how do I actually turn all that orange into blue? So this isn't divided by squad, but I would say the biggest opportunity is in whichever squad has the biggest growing container, and then that's where we need to fill and convert as much orange into blue. Make sense? Does that answer your question, Did?
Yes. Sir.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so we do have essentially a rundown now, right? And this will help Lewis create her OKR too. So greatest opportunity is what we've always been doing. That's why we had revenue managers in squad 1 and 2, even before they were competent, right? Because even without competency, some action is better than no action on that. And people actually end up learning. And now that we have people, let's say, with deeper qualifications coming in, they don't want to leave. It's sort of bizarre. But not everyone would be relieved. Okay, because they built their competency over time, which I thought was the magic of people management. Okay, so if we agree that those are, let's say, the prioritization, let's go into the work then. Okay, so currently, let's talk about how we can make this fair, right? And the next thing that we have is actually the 0th factor. It's timing. Don't ever forget timing, right? You don't need to do everything all at once. You can do things in different times and essentially cover.
Timing on each property different.
Right, and the timing on each priority can also be split differently. Let's say for right now, squad 2. That's where we agree the biggest opportunities is, right? They don't currently need anybody. They have no urgency on a revenue manager. Now, it doesn't mean that there's no urgency. It's just the way we feel right now. There's no urgency. But this person right here, Diana, feels really urgent about getting her beats done. So this is my compromise. I think you can actually start timing on a workload distribution first, because there is no urgency, let's say, on squad 2 at the moment, right? So we can work on that. And then I'd say the workload distribution, the goal should be to shorten the time for each cycle. So regular cadence and shorter visit on each cycle would be the best way to reduce that workload, right? So if we can visit, let's say, squad 4 once a week, but we spend 5 minutes on each particular thing, you never know, right? After a while, I would say, I think 5 minutes is more than enough sometimes, because it's either we discount or we don't discount. That's the thing. And the second question is how much. So part of it, let's say the goal, if you want this to be done correctly, then it has to be, that is a particular goal. How do we shorten this visit so that we don't spend too much time on each visit? Okay, great. Second one, on competency. Now, competency is actually an interesting question, because how many revenue managers do we have right now?
Alten, Sandra, me, Cynthia in training, Rizal in training.
Okay, Rizal and Danny are gone, right? We've already assumed that they will focus on content. So, and then
D1.
D1, yep. Okay, and who else? We got Lewis, right? Hoping we hired a competent manager. All right, so that's actually not a bad cross-section. That's 7 people, okay? So you got 7 people who are decently competent, who've been doing this for the past 5 to 6 months, with the exception of Lewis, but we trust that Lewis will wrap up fairly quickly on a particular thing. So we have actually quite a lot of surface area, people who can actually do it. Now, here's the thing, right? If you can get these people to do the regular cadence and have a shorter visit, then perhaps we can get to our goals faster too as well. Okay?
Yeah, I was thinking like, I think this is like we could have a chapter and thinking together.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're having this chapter right now. And also, let's not forget Vidi. Vidi is like the wild card here, right? He's going to bring a machine that creates a gigantic one-stop solution. So it's like, if this is Harry Potter, Vidi is like the golden snitch. You win, and then that wins the entire game. Okay, but Vidi, if you want to help, these people need help. So if you can actually do a patrol from time to time, I'd love to recruit you to help with the patrol. Yeah. Okay. All right. Vidi's saying yes, but he's not opening his mic, so I don't know. That's a real yes. All right. Okay. Great. So you're collecting more members of your team, and that's good. So we have now up to, and Jing is also involved. You got 9 people who can work somewhat in this area. That's a huge layer of competency in the company, if you think about it. That's more competency than air support. More competency than hosts. Okay? More competency than digital marketing or content. You have basically one of the largest cross-sections of competency in the entire company. Okay, so don't forget that. Forget it.
This here is mostly people spend their time. I think the hardest thing.
Right. Well, that's where you build. This is probably why people don't want to leave, because they spend so much time getting the skill that they are like, I don't want to leave. All right. So then,
Actually, this one is just enjoyable. It's fun.
yes, it is like professional poker playing. It's big. Okay, let's talk about the greatest opportunity first, right? Squad 2, we know, is the biggest opportunity because it's the greatest room count growth. If you look at the number of rooms available in Squad 2, it has the highest amount of growth. And also, no, it's the highest room night potential. It's not just the number of rooms, it's the price per room, right? So if you take the number of rooms and then the average price of what we think those rooms will sell, that creates the largest potential. And so that's where we really need to think about how to fill that stuff out, right?
Almost no bill actually.
It doesn't matter. Okay. But that's where I would say is how we measure potential. Where is the second greatest amount of room night potential growing? Squad 1, yeah? Maybe Squad 1. Yes, I believe Squad 1 has had like the Chantik, Rumah Pertama. These are all big heavy hitters, and also Blue Apsara. Well, actually, we don't need to look very far. We just need to look over here. Hold on a second. Where do we go? We just go to the market building chapter, and we see what has grown. Blue Apsara, Squad 1. Amazon, Squad 2. Didi's Place, Squad 1. Putri Nusa, Squad 4. Villa Vista, Squad 1. Squad 2. How are you going to be confident if new people? Okay, just kidding. All right, Kanchana Homestay?
2.
2. And Asri Village?
2.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we can see most of the proven new revenue growth is happening in Squad 2 by far. And Squad 1 pretty much just has Blue Apsara, and I think that's it, right? And Didi's Place. Okay, so that's where new revenue growth is growing. There's another part of this picture we're not seeing. What part of the picture is that? Yeah, there's something that is invisible right now from this graph. Right. No, it's not. Squad 3 has had no new properties, so that's not invisible. The part that is potentially invisible are properties that we've listed that have not gotten a single booking yet. And those would benefit quite a lot from revenue management too as well. Okay. So are there any properties like that? No. Okay, so everything that is here is here. Okay. All right, so you can see what the potentials are. Squad 2 is first, Squad 1 is after, okay? All right, so let's then, and then after that, it's Squad 4, right? Okay, so if I were to, let's say, come up with a solution to address your concerns, because Wan is overloaded right now, right? She's doing everything in Squad 4. How should we prioritize timing, and how should we prioritize sort of distribution right now? Okay, here's what I would do in this particular case. I would create a schedule. Schedule, and then activity, okay? So how much time we spend shows what we actually are really prioritizing, right? And how much time we don't spend shows how really we care for it. So let's just say, I don't know, Lewis is like, let's say 40 hours a week at a regular job, but at Bukit Vista it'll be closer to 50. No, okay, let's say she has 40 hours a week, right? So how do we want to divide that activity up in terms of what we want her to focus on? So I would say, let's just say on a straight cut, probably 20 hours on Squad 2, 10 hours on Squad 1, and maybe 10 hours on Squad 4, okay? That would probably be a pretty fair cut. Okay, that's Lilith's, right? Person. But let's not forget, we have more people, right? So if Lilith is covering something, does that then make Shinthia's job a little bit easier?
Yeah.
So let's say Shintia, she's got 40 hours a week. She does air support full time. So let's just say she spends 5 hours on squad 4 revenue management. Okay. Okay. Let's say we can list Vidi. Vidi's got like 4 hours. Let's say he will donate, just suggesting here, Vidi. Let's say he will donate 5 hours. We're already spending too much. You can see that, right? If we add 10 plus 5 plus 5, that's equal to 20 hours of total time. That's the same number of hours. So
based on what too much? How many properties you didn't count?
no, we're budgeting it based on number of hours per person, right? So we can't budget the same number of hours on, let's say, okay, let's keep on going on this, right? Let's talk about each person. Let's talk about Alvin. Alvin's got 40 hours a week, but let's say he's got maybe 8 hours dedicated for revenue management. Those 8 hours should be dedicated on squad 1, right? That makes sense because he's working on squad 1. What about Tendi? Tendi has 40 hours a week. Maybe he's squad lead, maybe 8 hours at most. Tendi should spend his 8 hours on squad 2, right? No doubt about that. Let's talk about Chandra. Chandra's got 40 hours a week. She's probably busier than Tendi. I'm not sure if she's busier or less. Let's underestimate here. I'd rather underestimate than overestimate. Let's say at most they have 5 hours, right? Let's say Chandra has 5 hours. She should probably focus that on what? Squad 2, right? Okay. Let's talk about Wayana. Wayana's got 40 hours a week. She more works like 80 hours a week, but let's just say she has 40, right? So you got how many hours that you'd like to spend on squad 4?
I never count like.
Okay, let's say how many hours. You should count. That's your budget. It's improper to set without a budget. How many hours do you estimate that you're currently doing per week?
A week?
Mm-hmm.
For the revenue?
Yeah.
8 hours.
8 hours. Okay. All right. Let's say you spend 5 hours. We're going to reduce that. We're going to reduce that to squad 4. Okay. And then Shinthia. Shintia's got 40 hours a week. How many hours? Oh, she's already there. Sorry. Shinthia's already there. What about D1? D1's got his 40. All right. So his 5 hours are, let's say, on squad 2. Okay. And then Lilith is already there. Vidi, and then you group Jane. Jane's got 50 hours because I'm awesome. Now let's just say I have 40 hours too. I spend more, but okay. Let's say I will put my 2 hours. I'll spend 2 hours on coaching Vidi and Lilith. And that will make their time more valuable, right? Okay. And then I can spend 2 hours on maybe coaching Shinthia, right? Okay, but you can see how this can work, right? If you can spend more time, let's say, coaching so that they get more impact out of their time, then that would actually get more things done. Okay, let me ask you this, Wayana. Do you think that revenue management per week for squad 4 would take 20 hours of collective time per week to do it? No, right? Okay, so we don't need 20 hours to do this. We can probably reduce, right? Let's be practical here. So we do have meetings and all this other stuff too related to whatever. So let's just say we're probably only get half of output on everyone. So let's reduce everyone's output by half. So you're going to get 5 hours. So this is, let's say, the squad 4 time budget. Sorry, I got nervous fingers because I'm like, oh. Okay, you got 5 hours of Lilith's time, 2.5 hours for Shinthia's time. You got 2.5 hours of your own time, and that's it. And if Vidi would be so kind, maybe he can donate. Where was Vidi? I didn't put it. Okay, all right. Let's say Vidi was going to be really nice to you. He's going. Oh wait, Vidi's like part time, so he's still doing this. Vidi, are you part time or full time? Or freelancer, free baller?
I think I'm a freelance. I don't know, sir. I just work for Bukit Vista.
Okay, let's say you have 20 hours and you'll spend I don't know, 2 hours, right? You'll probably spend 2 hours on everything, so that gives you about Well, actually, Vidi's impact is the most. You can reduce everybody's time by a lot if you get this right. But let's say you'll be really kind. You'll spend 30 minutes on squad 4, right? Okay, so if you get that, then all together, worst case scenario is you will get about 10 and a half hours of time to manage the 20 properties for squad 4. Does that sound like enough time for you? That's half of everyone's already time. OJ.
Yeah, but the hour is what actually each person do.
Right. So then the question, okay, then the next question is this, right? How do we fit the work? How do we fit the work into the times? Okay? How do we fit the work into the time? Not unlimited amounts of time to do each thing. We have to be decisive. We go in, we're going to get it done, and we're going to get it done within 10 hours. Right? Makes sense. We're not going to putter around and whatever. We're going to go in, and in 10 hours' time, the patrol has to be done. Now, okay, let's ask ourselves this question then. How much time is it right now per visit? What do you estimate the time per visit on a squad 4 property is?
Per visit, normally I visit like
20 minutes, 10 minutes,
property
5 minutes,
between might be 10 to 20 minutes,
10
depending
to
on
20 minutes. Okay?
yeah.
All right, great. How many properties are there?
23.
23. Wow, okay. So that means 20 times 23, 460 minutes, 460 divided by 60. You should be able to get it done in 7 hours, right? If you focus on it. Now, I would argue this.
One is like people, right?
Yeah. No. That's if everyone's working. Yeah. I would argue this. I would argue that you could probably aim to get it done in 5 to 10 minutes. Okay?
Yeah, it's everyone.
Right. Everything work depends on setting the preconditions to getting everything work, meaning that the owner has cooperation, that we have, let's say the content is right, all the other things, but if you can get it down to 5 to 10 minutes, which could be Vidi and Melissa's job, actually. That would be a very good process excellence type credit. If you can reduce the time it takes for a check, then that is something that would essentially double the capacity of the entire guild, okay? So I think you do have enough time. I do think that you can actually get this done within this and respect the priorities of the bigger level picture. Okay? No, I think you if you focus, right, on asking for the correct amount of commitment, you get 5 hours of Littlest this time, you get 2.5 hours of Shifty's time, and you get half an hour of Vidi's time, and you get 2.5 hours of your own time. That gives you about 10.5 hours of total time per week to work on revenue management for squad 4. 10.5 hours divided by 23. That's about 0.43 times 60. That's about 25 minutes per property. Right. So you should be able to get it done. Now, why you can't get it done is because people aren't focused, right? Maybe this person's doing something else, and this person's doing something else. And
Not just that, because like especially you can imagine like a new person, like they don't have the connection with the owner, they don't know, like it just include that. It's just to change the price, it's very easy.
Right.
Very easy, like in a minute.
Right.
But the thing is to find out like why this is not rebooking, why number 4 is not rebooking, and I'm gonna click the link and then open it, like see the review, see like
Is there anything we can do about that?
Yeah.
Is there anything that we can do about, let's say, the reviews?
Yes. Why not bookable?
Okay.
Yeah.
Look,
So
revenue management at the end of the day has only 2 controls: pricing and timing, right? If there's a bad review on that, there's nothing a revenue manager can do to change that bad review. Can't go over and cross out the review, right? So the only way.
Yes.
The only way.
The
only way.
problem fix,
Yeah.
and then you ask the content request
Right.
thing. So you have the in charge in there otherwise.
Okay, let's keep this simple so that we don't outstretch and say revenue managers can do everything. Revenue managers control the pricing and timing. Yes, they can communicate and signal over to content. They can to hospitality, and they can make their case known, right? And especially during the squad sync-ups is a good time to actually give revenue managers a chance to discuss that. Hey, look, these are the biggest revenue risks that we've detected this week in the patrol. And for this property, it is this. For this property, it is that. But it is not the revenue manager's job to go and do it. It is their job to raise the awareness.
What I do.
It is their job to raise awareness in the squad and then whoever's leading the squad must take action.
Less
Right.
efficient. Then.
No.
Whatever you do, it's just you stuck there in the pricing.
Okay,
Not
but
right.
then we take 20, 30, 50 minutes and nothing gets done once again, right? We need to be very clear about the scope of this role. And the scope of this role is to detect, but not necessarily to actually take action. Now, if a revenue manager is nice and they want to do it, yes, that's great. But let's just say the baseline role, what we're being hired, what we're asking people to do, is to make pricing decisions at the right time, right? And it is up to the squad to create conditions where that can happen in the most efficient way between 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, but cheap price can be efficient, but that's the thing also, like to find
The correct
the
expectations
problem.
of the role. We have to have the correct expectations of the role. The expectation of the role should not be where this person goes and has to rewrite the content and then does all this other stuff. Yes, maybe.
But if
Mhm.
only the content know, like the factor that what it costs, it didn't get booking, if they didn't communicate with it, like or
Oh,
didn't take action with it, it will be stuck there. No.
Look, every squad should have a revenue management board where revenue managers talk about what is the issue in the particular squad. That's why every revenue manager has home squad, right, where they can go to. But the squad itself has to take action. These sometimes are hospitality issues, like at Babar. Like if Lilith is expected to change the revenue at Babar, but she doesn't have control or the circumstance to actually persuade the owner, then it's just a waste of time for her to get stuck on that and not be able to move to the next property, which
That's
is what
what
the
I
revenue
have
manager.
facing.
Right. So then you have to have the correct expectations now about what this can do. If let's say, like I just had the discussion with you about being in Surf Flat. If the owner has neglected cleanliness for 2 years and then they come back one day and they say, why am I not getting any bookings? You need to say, look at your cleanliness score. It is at 4.2. That is unacceptable. I've told you this for 2 years in a row. You haven't taken action. This is why we are where we are today. And this is not something that a revenue manager can fix. This is a lack. We detected this in revenue management years ago. Years ago. We communicated to the owner years ago, but they didn't care. Didn't take any present to fix these things decisively. So once again, don't get too bogged down by that, because if you do get bogged down by that, then this one property that's not performing stops us from growing on all the other properties that could perform. We need to help where our help is the most appreciated. Okay? All right. So the whole point here is just to dissect and break down a big job and take a look at who's going to do the job, how much time we need for each thing, and then fit the job to the people, not fit the people to the job. Or a little bit of both. A little bit of both, right? Okay. So if we only have 5 to 10 minutes, then we need to get this to work in a 5 to 10 minute way. Okay. And that is the main reason why we have smart people innovating on revenue management. And that is the progress of revenue management, to be able to do it quicker, faster, more efficient.
So what if, like, okay, if there is no connection between owner, so how do you set expectations?
You need to set that from the market building phase, that the revenue manager is only accountable to the projection.
Things are changed.
Well, that's to somebody else to take care of, right?
So that's the revenue people
I
have
think
to
the
wait.
community needs to look. We can ask the revenue manager to keep on
No, I'm
doing
just
it.
thinking logically, like, because I feel
You're not
like
thinking logically right now.
the
You're
full
thinking,
stack, right? So if, like, for example, okay, I'm the revenue management, and I see this is the problem. Oh, I'm gonna not do anything because of, like, I can't get answered. What to do next.
no, they can do something about it, but then that slows down their flow. So then they cover about half the properties in the same flow instead of the whole number of the list. It's more important that we keep this cadence in the cycle going than to slow down because one property has a problem and get bogged down on it for months. Like the way being in Surflect has bogged us down. Like the way Babar has bogged us down. Ideally, as a good market builder, you should offload those properties. You just say, hey, look, I can't work with you until you get your cleanliness act together. Call me when you're ready, right? And leave it at that. Otherwise, it just brings down the entire profile. It brings down the entire. It's friction. Okay. It is imperative that we don't lose the cadence. The cadence is very important. That's what actually makes sure that we serve everything inside of what we need to get done. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Since this wasn't much of a discussion, it was more like a husband and wife discussion. All right.
No, I'm just being like a full stack doing thing, and then
The whole point
chunk it, and I just
the
cannot
whole
imagine
point of
what
growing
happened.
teams is not to have full stack people anymore, as you learn through market building. Having full stack makes each person less efficient because they have a longer span now, and they have all this work before they can move on to the next thing. You want your revenue managers to cover all the properties by the end of the week, and not like get stuck on one property and ignore the other hundreds of the other properties. Okay. All right. So let's also agree on this. The timing is once again the highest priority here. So if we have the timing right, then I think everything else is far more under our control. So for that matter, I would say protect the cadence, which means don't get stuck. Wait, we all know this, right? You guys take admission tests to university. One of the rules they say, if you get stuck on a question, what should you do? Skip and move to the next question. If you get stuck on the first question and you fail the test, it's moronic, right? That'd be really, really dumb. Skip to the next question and work and get all the questions done that you can get done easily, and then come back to the question that you couldn't do in the first. Now they have computerized questions so that you can't do that anymore. But at least don't get stuck on one property. Okay. Think about the overall picture. Revenue managers need to do that. Okay, so this is will be helpful if you're, let's say, leading revenue management to understand the capacity of the time to assign people to the right places with the right resources. And I think everybody can then see that, yes, I can reasonably get this done on a normal schedule. Okay? All right, great. It's kind of like all the time we have today. But let's take a look at a few challenging cases since we have about 5-6 minutes left. All right. What are your most challenging cases right now? You mentioned to me earlier it's Bukit Vista. Okay, so we're going to take a look real quick, ladies and gents, at Bukit Vista. Why I put this on a high alert? Mainly because it is a new property with a lot of rooms and they're mostly empty at the moment. So we can see how many rooms in total do we have here?
18.
We have 18 rooms. 18 on the beach, and it is mostly empty, right? Okay, so as a revenue manager, I want to also discuss this. Not every problem has a solution, but at least if you don't have a solution, give it a label, give it a name, give it like, what do we call this, so that we can start categorizing the problem. It's what any good scientist would do. So let's say, for example, we take our patrol. Vinny, why don't you lead our patrol today? So what would you do in this particular case? You're looking at this calendar, it's mostly empty. Where would you begin your investigation?
I think same as what we did yesterday. First, we look at the booking pace.
Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the booking pace and see what we can learn.
And see
All right, we should make sure we don't filter for squad 3. And let's go and get up Bukit Vista. Okay, here's Bukit Vista. All right, and before we even open this, we should have an expectation in our mind, right?
Yes.
What should that expectation be in terms of number of what the booking pace should be?
like low, right?
Yeah, 18 rooms. Okay. So what is let's say, the minimum booking pace we should be looking for? It should be around 30.
5 per minggu. Apa maksudnya? Per week. Per weeknya about 10 ya? 5 or 10? Kemarin katanya?
Ya, nggak itu kemarin.
Oh yeah. Of course, but I think yesterday was like a healthy one for a week, maybe 5 or 10.
Okay. Remember, you should be getting 2 bookings per listing, right? Per room,
Oh, right.
per sellable.
Yeah.
So if we have 18 rooms, that means a healthy booking pace is around 36. So if we take a look at this, let's go from today, which is the 11th. We got 3 bookings today, which is not bad. Does that look like 36 to you between the 4th and the 11th? No, of course not, right? I mean, if it was 36, yeah, well, it was 36 divided by 7. You should be looking at about at least 5 bookings a day to get that. And if I'm looking at this correctly, it's about 2 bookings a day. Yeah, about 2 or 3 bookings a day. All right, so we're essentially at below the necessary booking pace that we need. Okay, what's your next move then? What would you do next?
If I remember correctly, I'm not sure because yesterday what we did was we investigate each listing.
Yes, we investigated each listing. Yeah.
And for example, this is to set the price, right, sir?
Yes, sir. To set the price.
Let's say if we investigate each listing and see the price, then we also look at the booking window. Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at the booking window of this particular property. So we'll go to the insights,
Yeah.
look at the booking window distribution, and then go to Putri Nusa Guest House. All right, here we go. There's your booking window. 15 bookings, 0 days or less. 3 bookings, 1 day or less, and then exponential decay, like hyper exponential decay.
Yeah. So here we see that the probability of individuals or a guest booking 0, 1 or less days is
Yeah.
very high for some reason. Yeah. And it's an anomaly we've seen even yesterday. Therefore, according to can I see the calendar but a little bit to the left, sir?
Yes, sir.
Actually, but that's the thing. Actually, for example, yesterday, we see that some listing, although the booking window is very short, but for example, Putri Nusa Blok Kanan 5,
Yeah,
the previous days it's not doing well,
yeah,
and Putri Nusa Blok Kanan 3 also does that. So if you want to go in depth, like deeper, for example, we want to price each listings.
uh-huh.
Maybe it has to have a lower price along with Putra Nusi Blok Kiri 4
Okay.
compared to, for example, the one with a more rigorous gas pace,
Okay.
like for example, Putra Nusi Blok Kanan 8 and 9, Putra Nusi Blok Kiri 1 and 2. It has, although in the future dates there's a lot of runaway, like there's a lot of space, but the previous dates prior to the it's quite full basically. Although there are some lately, so that's what I consider.
Okay.
So those with the with less occupancy in the past 1 or 2 weeks would have a lower price compared to the one with more occupancy, basically.
Okay. All right. Very good observation and good detection of the revenue risk. Lilith, what would you say? Oh, heads up, both Lilith and Vinny. I'm wrong. This is actually on a group rate. So the entire set of listings, you see this G here? That means group rate. That means everything is sold at the same price. Okay, so everything is sold at the same price of 380 at the moment. And, well, I thought it was Alvin. Oh, it is Alvin. Okay. Welcome in, Alvin. Okay, and as Vinny said, look, the previous day, it was the same statistic, right? We saw the booking yesterday didn't happen for today. So we need to be able to fix this, but we don't have a tool to specifically laser in and sort of surgically work on 3 and 5. So we have to work on the entire block of all the rooms at the same time. Am I correct? Okay, all right. So let's go to Lilith. Lilith had a pretty interesting strategy yesterday. What was your strategy, Lilith?
My strategy yesterday, maybe my question is, this is group, you mean we have to set it the same at all rooms?
Yeah. So basically, yeah, we don't have fine control. We don't have general control. We only control the entire.
So looking at the
Wait, I lied. Wait. It might not be true.
I think you can do it visually, sir. I checked.
Yeah,
What is it?
you can do it. Yeah, Vinny, tell me more. Maybe you've discovered something. Can I set the price for our individual?
Yeah.
You can?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, great. Let's do that then. Yeah. That sounds
That's what I did testing last time.
Okay. Fantastic.
I have good rate and then I have discounted only to the room that I want to be discounted.
No way.
Yes.
All right. Excellent. I'm wrong. Okay, please continue. Liz.
If we have to use the price, the same price, or in all the rooms, maybe I will like applying a discount for For example, in along 1 week ahead, but I give different discount in each week. The most recent day I give a larger discount, and then for example, I set it for 7 days. The first 3 days I give like 25%, and then give it 15%, and then 7 or 10% in the last three parts of the weeks that I try to give discount. And it's like a trial that is the lowering the price affect the interest of the guests of booking this room. And for the other strategy maybe like applying different price in each room. It's like experimenting which price is the most interesting. I mean, maybe, for example, maybe if we set the price too low, it can make like inside. Oh, this place is very cheap. Maybe the quality of the service is not very good. So,
Well, excellent.
like pricing strategy.
So we have many rooms here to actually look at, and most of the actually plan is very solid. I think. So progressive discounting to basically minimize risk of an unsold room, but also to maximize the potential for revenue by successfully trading off runway for discount. The shorter the runway, the larger the discount. The bigger the runway, the less the
The
discount.
less it is.
Very solid. Okay. Here's one insight I want to bring up to you guys. Do you guys know what representative inventory is? Over to Vidi and to Lilith. Are you guys familiar with the idea of representative inventory?
So,
Oh, wait, it doesn't say it here. Okay. Vidi, do you know what representative inventory is?
No, sir, but I'm guessing it's like sampling.
Very good. Okay. All right. It's like a sample that replenishes itself after you've sampled it, if that makes any sense. Okay. Lilith, do you know what representative inventory is?
actually no, but it's like yeah, maybe the simplest is the sample, but it like reflecting the same inventory.
Okay. All right. Let me unveil itself. Representative inventory is really interesting, and I'll show you why. So let's say, for example, let me contrast. I'll put Airbnb on the left screen, and I'll put Booking.com on the right screen. Okay. So this is what happens on Airbnb. Let's say, for example, you look for Canggu, okay, and you search for something, and let's say over here on Booking.com, you also go and you look for something, and well, it has to be Canggu too, right? So let's look for something in Canggu as well. Okay, so we look for something in Canggu, we search for it, and this is what we get. Okay, so this is what we get whenever we search on right side is Booking.com, left side is Airbnb. Now, here's the thing about representative inventory. You see this thing on Airbnb? There's only one copy of it. When somebody books it, it's gone.
Already sold out.
Right, it's gone. So when it's gone, you don't see it anymore, right? In fact, right now on Airbnb, if you put in any dates, you're not seeing anything that has sold out, right? Makes sense. Duh, right? Like, that's obvious. Why would they show you something that's been sold out? But the problem is Airbnb, unless you have a special channel manager, not the one we have, but one like SiteMinder or Cloudbeds, it does not have representative inventory, which means that you can only sell one unit
Each time.
of anything, and then it disappears from search. Okay? So Booking.com has representative inventory. So let's say, for example, there's 8 units of Anupari Villa here in Bali, right? Just for example, let's say there's 8 units on Airbnb. On Airbnb, you cannot compile all 8 units to one listing. You have to make 8 separate listings and 8 separate ways. And so the bad part about that is that, guess what? Not all 8 listings will get equal amounts of bookings.
Yeah.
The highest ranked listing will get 10x bookings. The second most will get 5x, and then 2.5x, and then it'll exponentially decay down. So with 8 listings on Airbnb, you cannot expect 8 times more bookings. You probably are only expecting maybe 2 times more bookings than if you had a single one. So it makes it very inefficient to use multiple listings on Airbnb.
Yeah.
Now, on Booking.com, it stays there forever. The first listing stays there. It gets booked once. Remember, there's 7 more, right? So it gets booked again.
They get
6 more.
free booking.
Yeah, so that listing holds its position much better. This is one of the key causes to actually why guest houses and such, they don't have very good performance on Airbnb for us, right? It's tough. The reason why some of these things have been working in our favor is because Canggu has so much turnover, so many people are booking. Even if you're on page 2, 3, 4, 5, the stuff on the first page is getting consumed so quickly that very soon the second page becomes the first page, right? And very soon the third page becomes the first page, and so on and so forth as inventory gets moved off. So once again, that's not an ideal way. Ideally, you should just always stay on page 1 and you just lock your place there. And so that is a factor that we discovered as revenue managers through understanding how the algorithm works. Okay, that's good enough for today. So I wanted to introduce the idea of representative inventory. I want to talk about how we actually distribute and how we prioritize work. And I want to take a look at how we would actually set the price for a property here. And I think we're coming to a convergence idea now, a hypothesis. The pricing can be tiered, deep discounts for something nearby and essentially a little bit less into the future.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good method there. Seems like convergence. Let's see if it works. So we'll need to actually check and make sure that.
Also, it's need to check with the booking window. Some
Yes.
property work. It's if the booking window like a month in advance, less likely will get the last minute, even though like heavy discount.
Let's
do this.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
What properties did we make discounts on yesterday?
One second.
That you did. But what did we do together yesterday? Does anyone remember?
Yesterday?
Nobody remembers? Uh-oh. I think it was Cynthia's, right? Was it Megaland? Or Kintam? Vidi's nodding his head. Vidi, which one was it? Was it Megaland or Kintam?
I think I remember Megaland.
All right. Let's see. It could be right. It was Megaland. Let's see if we put a card there. No, the last card we put on was February 4th.
I don't
Let's see.
think we
We didn't
in
card
our
it? We didn't card it?
I mean, we don't set any discount or promotion.
We only looked over it, I think.
Oh, we didn't actually set it.
We didn't add anything.
I see. Well, let's go ahead and set it today so that we can take a look tomorrow. All right, let's go for it. Here we go. Number 3. Apparently, I'm wrong again. So I don't get it, but number 3 seems to have an individual rate capability. All right, so let's call these the February rates. Lilith, set those rates, and we'll go with it. What rate would you like to have? Remember, the current rate we're having is 380, and that rate is not selling. So we need a new rate.
380.
Yeah. So we'll call this the February last minute. Last minute is not descriptive. What dates would you like to set the discount for?
Can I see the booking in the booking
Calendar?
calendar?
Calendar's empty. For number 3, it's been empty this whole time.
Yeah, maybe about 1 week. So
Okay, all right, February 11th to 18th?
no, 17.
Okay, 17, okay, all right. 17.
That's from the booking.
Number 3, which has never gotten a booking, it's completely empty. This must be scary as hell being the owner. All right, so we're starting at 380. How much would you like to bring it to?
Oh, you mean like if I want to apply the previous strategy that I explained, maybe
Yeah, time to
I'll
do it.
divide it to 11 until 14.
Okay, 11 to 14 now. All right, so up until Valentine's Day. All right, and what price would you like to set? Remember, you're at 380.
Calculate 25%. 70, 75 of
So 285. Right?
yeah.
Okay, so that's 25% discount. We're
Uh,
looking at 285. Okay, 285. Okay, all right. Next one, 2 guess. Okay, can we do that?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this, and if the owner complains, then we're going to show them something, right? We're going to show them how long it was since they've gotten a booking in that particular room. And we can go all the way back here. We can show them, hey, sir, look, the last time you got a booking was
Does
on,
Bali have a listing?
yeah, that has a listing, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to set the price. Okay, so I've screenshot the calendar, and that will be good evidence in case there's a discussion about, whether or not that's an effective play. All right, so great. Any other changes that you'd like to make? Maybe number 5, right? Did you said 5? Okay. Number 5, would you like to offer the same rate?
which one is that?
5 is also over here. It looks about the same. No, that's many bookings. Pretty empty.
I think so. I will do
Okay.
the same.
Let's go ahead and do the same. So we'll call this February 11th to the 14th. That's a default rate. And 11 to 14th. Sorry, excuse me. And it's 285 as well. Okay, so we created these 2 rates. Now, don't forget to push rates, right? So after these rates are there, make sure you push, and then the rates will go out into the real world. Oof. And okay, let's not forget also on number 3
In the earlier.
to push as well. And push. Push, okay, updated now, February 11th. Great. Now, don't forget to also put your evidence here, right? So we have new rates. Let's make sure we got all the components of what we needed. We did not, actually. So we have the calendar, which is good, and that shows us the before situation. Let's also remember that we need the rates. Okay, so we can show basically what the rates are. Okay, actually, we'll just show it here. Oh. Okay, and number 5. You guys can get, definitely more fluent on this over time. You don't have to do so much of this nonsense. Okay, all right. So those are the 2 evidences I want to put in, and I'm putting this evidence later, so when I come back, I'll be able to understand what happened here. Okay, let's go ahead and make the decision here. So let's see, what did I do? So Jing, actually, this was your credit. Lilith, I decided to put a 25% discount. Actually, let's give you both credit because Vinny decided which ones we should actually do. 25% discounts on rooms number 3 and 5 from 380 to 285, right? Okay, and it's applied for February 11th to 14th, and we're hoping to see what?
So I only take 18 minutes.
Yeah, because we had such a discussion, right? All right, but if we don't have a discussion, it's faster. All right, let's. What's the last part we need here? February 11th to 14th. What is our hypothesis? What do we think will happen?
It's 4 days, so minimum 1 booking.
Okay, let's get 1 booking. 1 booking per listing, all right? Okay, that's a really good target. That's a good key result to look for. So this is great because later on you go back and you can see, did you actually help anything? Later on you can take a look at the rest. You can compare it with number 4, actually. 4, we didn't do anything. So 4 remains unbooked and 3 and 5. We can see it because we copied the calendar, right?
Not all of them.
Oh, we did not copy the calendar.
Not all of them.
Okay, all right, so we should probably, okay, let's contrast that. This will be our test, and this will be our control, as they say in science. So we can control using this. Wait, let's wait for the little blue bar to load. Come on. All right, there, loaded. Okay, so this will be our control, and we'll attach that. And the control, if it shows that it didn't get any bookings, that would be pretty persuasive evidence that what we did influenced the bookings to happen. And if nothing happens, then control properties. Okay, and this is the, this is the test experiment properties. Okay, all right. Don't forget, once you have that, the most important thing is to make sure your calendar is set correctly, so that you'll know when to go back to that. So, all right, we have to set it here. Then,
Yeah.
So we'll need to put a due date on it. We'll put it on the 14th, and it goes on the calendar. And when we patrol, we just look at the calendar and understand what we need to do. We see the date, and we see this is on the thing, and that is good. Let me show you the Squad 1 CRM, and then we'll break. Sorry, this is going over time a little bit. It's quite a lot over bit. So if this looks right, then all the cards should be to the right of today. And they almost are, except the la, which I guess I'm still working on. Then I know that nobody's working on it either. Okay, so it should look like this. All the cards that we need to manage are on the right side of the current date. Yeah? Or past the current date. That's probably the best way to put it. And that's how we keep track of what property needs attention. All right. Okay. Vidi, here, let me invite you in. If you'll be so kind, Vidi, maybe you can have a talk with Vidi, Yabe, on what VC can help you with and what the minimum prices can be. It's a really good practice for Vidi also to develop that AI intuition by developing human intuition first. I'll let you guys continue that talk on your own time. Okay? All right. Vidi is a cool guy. He's really like intrepid, working into new
How
areas.
can I reach you, Vidi?
What day do you prefer, ma'am?
Might be through the PRM is the best.
Well, why don't you talk to Vidi about which ones you want to do? And maybe you guys should have a talk right now. Vidi's available, you're available. Maybe you guys can have a discussion on what properties you want to do and what the lowest price points can be. Right? Okay, all right. You can adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
All right.
Vidi,